Welcome in everybody to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host Glenn Martin, and we are here on a Tuesday evening in which summer seems to be really coming to the forefront tonight. Tonight was a true summer run. Humidity in full effect, had to get the sunscreen out, and so certainly here in Baltimore, the weather is starting to turn the corner. But we're excited to talk about our Baltimore Ravens nonetheless. There's always things going on in the Ravens world. So we got a lot to get into tonight, some really fun topics and otherwise. So make sure you guys hang out with us. But before I do, Glenn, how are you doing this evening? How are things going, my man?
Doing well. Yeah, I'm like you. I'm glad the warmer weather is here. It was a cold, nasty week last week, but this week actually feels like summer, and we got some real warm days coming up. King Blaze, appreciate you coming out. Craig Fox, thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. But yeah, I mean, most excited about the fact that the second session of OTAs started today. We saw the boys on the field, albeit missing a lot of big names, but it's still good to see those who were out there. We got to hear from a couple guys, including Zay Flowers and Todd Monken. We also heard from, in different time, we heard from Derrick Henry. I want to get your comments on some of the Derrick Henry comments we heard. We want to talk about Keaton Mitchell and some of the recent news coming out of his camp. And then I got to get your take on, of course, Nick Wright and what he said about this Ravens roster that PFF just put out a power rankings, roster-based power rankings, and had the Ravens number one. But Nick Wright seems to have a disagreement. We're going to get to that later. Maryland, Texas says beard weather is over. Yes, I know. You know, I'm just indecisive. I just don't know what to do. It takes me 6 months to get here. So if I take it off, okay, it's a long time to get back to here.
It's all over.
It's all over. What's going on, CJ? Appreciate you coming out.
Yes,
where are we going here, Jimbo? Where do you want to start? Did you get the mic to work?
Yeah. Can you hear me okay? Let me double check it. You know what? Good call, DK. My mic is...
I know, Travis. I did. But then one person was like, oh, are you sure? It's starting to... That's all it takes.
How's that?
I know. At least brush it. I got to get like a...
All right. Is that better, DK?
I know. Oh, there we go. Yeah, way better.
No, dealer's choice, Glenn. Dealer's choice. You start where you'd like to. I know.
All right, let me start. Okay. All right. Let me start with, let's see. We heard from Zay Flowers. And now, look, Zay didn't say a ton. I mean, he did say that he was able to, he didn't dwell too long on the fact that, you work so hard, you get to the playoffs, and he wasn't able to participate in that Buffalo Bills game. He was able to turn the page, said, look, there's nothing I can do about it. I was hurt. Kind of is what it is. But excited that that's the first game of the season. Wants to, kind of show those boys what they were missing out there without Zay Flowers out there. But he also was asked and talked about DeAndre Hopkins and talked about how DeAndre is not only a vet, but a vet that shares his knowledge. I know there's a lot of, there was a lot of stuff out in the media about Joe Flacco once again being asked about his tutelage of younger players. And he said, look, I'm in a no-win situation. If I say I'm not here to be a mentor, then I'm an asshole. If I say I am here to be a mentor, well, then this guy doesn't really want to win the job. So it's a no-win situation for a lot, for some of these guys when asked, but not quite the same when you're talking about a position group that multiple guys in that group play versus quarterback where it's only one guy at the helm. So Hopkins shares his wealth of knowledge with the guys below him and you can see him working on his release packages with those guys, but also the biggest thing that Zay's getting from DeAndre is just taking care of your body. How did he get to year 13 in the National Football League? And the big part of that is taking care of your body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, and look, just like you said, Glenn, I mean, Joe's comments are so funny just because, like he said, he's just being honest. It's just better to lead. I think he could have said, I'm just lead by example is what I try and do. I think he could have summed it up just by saying that. I think ultimately that is what he said. But no, I think that this is the happiest that DeAndre Hopkins has been since a team. I think
he was on the Chiefs last year. Let's not forget.
Yeah, but he didn't start there, right? He got traded. It wasn't like, hey, I got to go wherever I want to go type thing. He got traded there.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying he wasn't happy, but he's been wanting to play with Lamar. He's been wanting to play with Derrick, and I think that makes life a little easier for him when working with the younger vets. Where you want to be. I mean, you don't mind, not that he wouldn't do it before, but I think it just makes it that much easier. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. And Travis talks about some of Hopkins' upbringing and some of his background story. And yeah, I mean, if you guys haven't seen it, yeah, it's crazy, especially the stuff that happened to his mother, the assault that left her blind after acid being thrown in her face. I mean, it's one of the wildest stories that you'll find. And yeah, I mean, the maturity, the resilience, it's pretty incredible. And so we're lucky to have him here. Well, Rotland wants to know if we're going to give Justin Tucker another shot. No other shot. No. Somebody might, but it's not going to be here in Baltimore. And then quickly, we heard from Todd Monken again today. It was a very brief presser, at least in comparison to some of his. And he talked about, it was kind of interesting. He was asked about DeAndre Hopkins, and look, he said, look, it's hard to know right now, but we can't wait to get on the field and actually get some competition going. But he did say an interesting comment. He said, look, we don't look at DeAndre Hopkins as a third wide receiver. Now, Nelson Aguilar last year was a great third wide receiver, but that's not what DeAndre Hopkins is. Says they have 3 starters here in Baltimore. Jimbo, was that an unnecessary shot at Nelly, or was that just keeping it real?
I don't know. I don't think that this was meant to throw shade at Nelly. I think it was not only was it unnecessary, I don't think it was intentional. I think it was unintentional, right? But I think even Nelson Aguilar would say him and DeAndre Hopkins, even at this stage in his career, are different players. They have different roles. And so I think that's really what he was saying, but it is kind of funny. It's like, I can see how Nelly would take that one, right? But he's also right. I think that DeAndre Hopkins can carry more of a load as far as having to, if he needed to, from a wide receiver 1 perspective. At this advanced age, I think he's still good.
Yeah, I think
and Nelly can't. I mean, unfortunately, he couldn't, right?
Right. Yeah, and that's a good point. Like, there's no world in which, I mean, I guess I shouldn't say there's no world. Like, if you needed a third down, say it's 3rd down and 6, the only reason you're throwing to Nelly is because your assumption is that the defense is going to sell out to all your other weapons that are lined up before Nelly. Whereas with Hopkins, including all those weapons, there's still a very realistic chance that many occasions they're going to choose to throw the ball to Hopkins over Zay, over Bateman, and even over Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely, even if, they're not worried about what the defense's coverage is. So there is a big difference. I think he makes a good point in saying that they have 3 number 1s, because I think different scenarios, they may look at different guys as the number 1 target. So, but he was asked also about Zay Flowers, and man, did he gush all over Zay Flowers and his time. Like, he talked about, look, 3 different spots. He's a great player on the outside. He's a great player in the slot. He's a gadget guy. You can get the ball in his hands. He's great with the ball in his hands. I mean, there's really nothing he can't do. So my question to you then is, Jimbo, is why is he not, like, do you think it's consensus that everyone looks at Zay Flowers as our bona fide number 1? Or do you think there's still, I mean, we just talked about, like, there's moments where maybe he's not the preferred option. Like, do you think it's a little unfair to not just anoint Zay Flowers as our number 1?
Yeah, so I think that it works like this. I think that Ravens fans know Zay is our number 1. I knew Zay was our number 1 before week 1 of his rookie season. Shout out to Kadri.
That's right.
But, and when we love you, Kadri. But the thing is, I don't think the league may always view him that way. I think that's the distinction to me. I think Baltimore fans do. And I think it's because of the way that he gets the ball in occasions, like close to the line of scrimmage, like that type of stuff. But he's so multiple in the way that he can play. I mean, certainly he gets intermediate stuff, he gets long ball stuff, but he doesn't play like a Mike Williams, like a younger DeAndre Hopkins. Like, I mean, it's not the same type of play that you're getting. But I do think it's unfair that I don't think he really cares, but I do think it is unfair that he kind of gets lumped into a different type of player because of his body type and his play style.
Yeah, that's a good point. Is definitely, oh man, I see these super chats, bro. They're coming after us here, bro. Omni King says 13 sacks for Oweh and a Big Mac is eaten, Jimbo?
No, I'm not doing that again. No.
You know what? We're going to get to Odafe Oweh because I got some highlights of this guy. And you know what? I think somebody pointed it out when we talked about when we talked about our positions, Jimbo, we talked about how it would be blasphemy on the heels of the Ardarius Washington injury to just simply say that the safety position got better with Malachi and Hamilton versus Washington. We said that you can't say that. He was too good for us last year. And then you just quickly said it when you talked about Mike Green as our best pass rusher and had no hesitation.
Right. Ardarius Washington and Odafe Oweh are different football players.
But I see that. But
6 sacks.
Oweh had 10 sacks.
Yeah, the Browns and the Raiders got 6 of them.
Okay. All right. But that's not all he did. Okay.
No, but Glenn,
the 10 sacks.
Think about this. Ardarius started for how many weeks? Like starting at week 11?
Was it that late? I thought it was a little earlier than that, but maybe around there.
It was pretty late. We'll say halfway through the season to be generous.
That's fair.
Okay?
Yeah.
If you had to remove one player from the field as soon as Ardarius started, and it was Ardarius or Odafe, who are you removing from the field?
Well, I mean, okay.
Right?
You're
like it's not even a hesitation.
No, but if heading into this year, all else was equal, no, I would still pick. All right, Jimbo. You might be right here. Okay. I was going to try and somehow flip it away. But
I guess what I'm trying to say, though, is like, I just need to. You remember the Kansas City play? We were at that game. Yeah. The impact play, got the fumble. Like,
was it lucky?
Well, I don't think it was lucky. I think it was a good play. I mean, he beat the guy in front of him, right?
He did.
And it was a bone, the way, dude, you got to hold the ball. Like, whatever the circumstance are, you got to hold the ball. But that was the last. Maybe I could be wrong, Glenn. You could think of another one in your head, maybe.
No, that was it. That was the only.
Right. And then you can think of plays. You can name 3 plays off the top of your head right now for Ardarius. Am I right? In just last season. Think about this, Glenn. Yeah. My son is going to be 4 in the fall. And that game that I'm referencing was 4 days before he was born.
Damn. So what you're telling me is that in Henry's entire lifetime, Odafe has made 0 impactful plays.
Oh, right. 4 days before he's born. So, yeah, 0.
0. And just last season, off the top of our heads, we can think of 3 from Ardarius. At least everyone can.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fair. I can't really argue, guys. I mean, he made a pretty good argument there. Yeah. That's correct. But 20 pounds heavier Odafe Oweh.
I hope you're right. Goodness gracious. You know I'm a Ravens fan. I hope that this is the case. Right? But I just can't put anything on it, right?
Jimbo, I don't know what Priest he's talking about, but
me neither. I thought priests are generally like clean shaven, right?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Maybe I look like what are those ones with the friar tuck?
Glenn, you know what's funny? You know who you look like to me? You look like old Brigham Young, my boy.
Do I? I don't even. He has a beard?
Oh, dude. He had a beard.
Did he?
Oh, some of the old brethren had the beards.
Dude, this
big old beards.
Bad. Look at this.
It's the neck that makes me think of like an old-timey beard. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad.
It's not terrible. The fade makes it look a little better.
My barber insisted.
Yeah, it makes it look better.
He was like, please.
Let me.
All right. Do the top. A shout out, though. I think you did a good job. By the way, still there. Still there, guys. All you haters. It's still there in the front. Sea King of the Seas. I've arrived late from the seas. From the sea. Ravens to the Super Bowl. Yes. Ravens to the Super Bowl. It feels like it. It feels like it, Jimbo.
Yeah. Well, you talked about the roster. Do you have this, Nick, right?
Yeah. Let me pull this up here.
Because obviously, just like you said, the Ravens roster has been getting praise, and I think rightfully so.
Oh,
right.
Rightfully.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that
rightfully.
Oh, yeah. I think no, that was unintended. That was an unintended pun. But I think that I know there's no perfect team in the league. Everyone is going to depend on young guys to progress, rookies to come in and play well, vets to stay healthy and things like that, obviously. But I think that the Ravens have the most complete team on paper. And that doesn't mean we're going to win it or win it all, because health obviously matters. Remember when the Browns team made they were like a super team or whatever? They made was the front of ESPN or something like that?
Yeah.
I mean, I never was a believer in that, but
Let me show you how Nick Wright feels about your comment saying we have a good roster.
Gosh.
Tell me if you hear this. Just give me a thumbs up. I need to hear
their
defense.
A basketball expert's defense.
Yeah, we need exactly. Chris Broussard is a bad, but he rides with the Ravens, so I got to give him.
No, credit. He does. That's true. Let me just say a couple things if that's okay. Is that all right?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So my bad. First of all, saying the wide receiver room is in flux, Glenn. This was one of the first things you said when we went into the offseason. Mm-hmm. I think 6 out of 7 of our pass catchers were all returning.
Yep.
And then we just added to DeAndre Hopkins. So flux is a very loose term. He obviously hasn't done his homework. Mm-hmm. And then I do agree with what Chris was going to say. I do think the offensive line will be better. If nothing more than for the sake of continuity, mm-hmm. right? They will be better.
And young guys getting better.
100%. And then you got to add, I think we have the best tight end room in the NFL with simply the combination of Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely.
How could you not say that this is very good? Like he said that there's no other position that's even very good. How could you not, at the very least, say that that's a very good position, even if you don't give it great, which it is great?
Yeah, no, it's outrageous. Even with the poor performance by Mark in the Bills game, he only led the league in touchdowns last year for tight ends. I mean, it's after not even scoring a touchdown until week 6.
Yep.
Like, what are we talking about? And then defensively, I mean, I think that we are a pretty complete team. I know that we lost Michael Pierce and Brent Urban and things like that, but we've done a lot with the addition of Mike Green, with the addition of Malachi. Dude, I think this defense is going to be legit with Nate Wiggins, looking like he's taking a step forward. It's outrageous, man. I mean, adding Teddy to that middle linebacker room is going to help. Every level, we have a all pro at every level. Yeah. Nnamdi can get there from all pro perspective. What's his name? Walks into an all pro every year in Roquan. Mm-hmm. Marlon was an all pro last year, right? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And then Kyle Hamilton. What else can you ask for, bro?
Yeah. To not even say, look, now this comment was after Ardarius went down, but to say that, I mean, I guess he is a rookie, but I mean, I think it's fair to say we have a very good safety room. Like, I think that's fair. I think, albeit, some question marks next to, I mean, like you said, Roquan is a perennial all-pro, not a perennial Pro Bowler, perennial all-pro. Like every year, pencil him in. I don't know. I just thought you're not going to be perfect everywhere. You're not going to be great. I think the better exercise Nick Wright could do is find the holes, find the glaring weaknesses on this team, because that's what makes it a complete roster. There's no glaring there's no obvious holes or shortcomings on this roster. You can't point to a position group and go, damn, I hope that group doesn't cost them. I mean, they're so bad here. They don't have any of those. Like, you have to really search to be like, okay, that's a little worrisome. Like, in years past, there's been issues. Like last year alone, I mean, there was a lot more question marks going into it about the offensive line than there is this year. There's just no doubt about it. So I would challenge Nick Wright. Find the glaring weaknesses. Find the obvious dings in the roster if it's so easy. I mean, he's made it so easy to say that there's not any greatness on the roster outside of 2 positions. Okay. Show me where they're horrible at. Mm-hmm. I'll wait. Mm-hmm. Crazy, man. It's like unbelievable. And it's very easy to leave Ricard out, who's the penciled in all pro at fullback every year. So, oh God.
Yeah. Well, Nick Wright's better off on the cast of Pirates of the Caribbean. That's basically the look he's going for right now. So good luck with that, buddy. But yeah, my gosh, I can't stand that guy. And he's only upset because if his Chiefs were 1 and the Ravens are 2, he had nothing to say.
Yeah.
But he just basically described the Chiefs.
Yeah, the Chiefs have 2 great players. Well, no, 3 with Chris Jones. He can't.
Sure, but offensively, it's the Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes show.
And how old is he now, Travis?
I think he's 35.
So let's see when Father Time pays a visit to old Travis Kelce. I think it could be in the near future. Let me see here, Jimbo. Let's move on from that goofball, that absolute goober. I need to know what your thoughts on this situation are right here. Keaton Mitchell says he set a personal speed record this training camp. In his training this offseason. He says he feels like he's better than he was when he first got here. It's going to be a movie for sure, he says. Jimbo, we remember when he first got here. This was a guy, if there's any guy in years past that I can remember who just refused to let the coaches not let him on the team. Like every day in the training camp, he was making play after play after play, and he forced you to know his name. Do you believe him when he says he feels like he's better than he was when we saw him in training camp his rookie season?
I think that there's a chance. Absolutely. I mean, I think that coming off of do you remember when Derrick Rose came off of his ACL? He jumped 4 inches higher. He went from a 40 to a 44-inch vertical. Now, he ended up having subsequent injuries and was never the same. But, if it would have just been that one, who knows how that would have ended up. All that to say, yeah, I totally think it's possible, and I think it's probable. He was too soon. Not too soon, but he was just very close to it. I don't think we were expecting him to be 100% last year. No. Hoping, but not expecting. And so, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think he can be a true X factor in this offense again, just like he was his rookie season, just because people might have, kind of forgotten who he is and what he can do. And so I'm looking forward to it, man. I'm not surprised.
Wow. I mean, I think it's one thing to set personal speed records in straight line running, but and a lot of that speed was what made him special. That explosiveness, that ability to get to the edge, even when it seemed like the defender had the angle and he just outran the angle. But the question is the change of direction, right? The side to side, because that's where the knee is at risk. It's not as much at risk when you're running in a straight line, especially when you don't have to worry about tacklers. And that's where I guess we have to wait and see, right? Can he change direction? Can he make guys miss in the open field? And is he just now, at this point, a speed guy? I think he's more than that. But Jimbo, how the hell do they get this guy on the field? Like, do you see a scenario if both guys, if everyone's healthy in the running back room, do you see a scenario where he eats into the attempts from Justice Hill and potentially even takes a couple snaps away from Derrick Henry?
Yeah, I think like you said, if he continues to force his hand, I can absolutely see it. Not that I want Derrick off the field or even Justice, but I think I'm counting on Monken here to work this out, to figure out a way to get creative and who knows, maybe we see him and Derrick in the backfield at the same time. A little bit of that. I think that'd be fun. Who knows? Maybe we see him and Justice in the field on the backfield at the same time, and then Lamar calls. They end up both in pass catching scenarios.
That would be fun.
How wild would that be? And how much of a headache would that be? And I'm obviously not an offensive coordinator like Monken. So I think he'll get out there. I'm not overly concerned about how, because I think that Monken is one of the guys that is creative enough to do this.
Yeah, it definitely seems like there is a ton of mouths to feed when it comes to offensive target share. I don't know how they're going to figure this out. I mean, obviously, some of it will work itself out through injury, unfortunately. It's not likely that every one of his weapons will be available on a week-to-week basis. I mean, Lamar's weapons. But, man, I just look around. I'm going, how the hell? There's only one ball. Like, there's so many guys that he's going to have to try and keep satisfied with in a role in which, look, you better take advantage of your 3 targets if you're a pass catcher, because that's probably what you're going to get for the entire game. Yeah. And it just reminds me of like Julio Jones talking about that Super Bowl, how he got 4 targets in that Super Bowl. And he's like, look, I'm a great player. It's hard to get into it with 4 targets. So I just hope these guys are able to stay ready, make plays when the ball does come their way, even if that means it's not coming very often. Right.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think that we have a team first crew. And I think that I don't think we're going to see too many guys upset.
Okay. You think these guys are team? You think they're ready as long as we're winning, right? Because if we lose, things all of a sudden could make a huge change here. But man, I'm excited. I know we did also get a first glimpse here, Jimbo, of let's see here, the Ravens' newest player. Let me throw this back up on the screen here. Jenkins joined the team. I know they were waiting for some roster maneuvering in order to add him to the team. But as you can see here on the screen, he is wearing number 62. And look, he's a veteran, so he's been here many, many times. But I like that addition. I think that is a solid addition, certainly a guy who can help fill the shoes of Michael Pierce. He's not going to He's not going to obviously. I would expect him not to be out there in passing situations, but certainly as a run defender, we're going to see a lot of John Jenkins out there on downs 1 and 2.
Yeah, I agree, and I'm looking forward to seeing him out there. Like you said, he's a vet. And it's nice to have a vet in that room because, I mean, you have Matabike, but there's some young guys there that are going to need some teaching and corralling. So I'm looking forward to seeing that work out. I think it's going to be another low cost, high return on investment signing for the Ravens. Yeah, we're pretty dang good at this point.
They just keep racking them up. And now, Jimbo, we got to see what your take is on this, okay? Because we talked about it earlier. We teased it a bit earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. Here, let me throw this up here. 20 pounds is looking good on Odafe Oweh, Jimbo. I mean, this guy, he's looking strong out there. Why is it not go? There it goes. Okay.
Yeah, it's
here we go. He looks big, Jimbo. Like, he just looks like thicker. Like, he, you know what I mean? Like, look at his arms. I mean, he looks like a force here, Jimbo. I know you're going to have to see it, but let me ask you this, honestly, because I feel like sometimes if you make your mind up about a player, it's hard to switch it.
It's true.
Is there an avenue where Odafe Oweh could change your mind about him as a player?
Yeah, for sure. But it's just about being a football player. It's never really for me been about how Odafe looks.
What about the Baconator?
No, I'm over it. It's
not about that? Okay. All right.
No. I mean, that was like a 12-hour, if that, right? Like, thing went right through me. Slow. We're good. But no, I mean, I think it's just about Odafe translating his physical gifts into football. That's always my concern with him, right? Because KVN doesn't look like a football player when you put him next to Odafe Oweh. When you put him next to him, right? Like, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
But KVN is a more impactful football player. I think that's fair to say, right? So how does he bridge the gap? How does he connect both the two, right? We've seen players like this before that look the part and just for some reason can't get it done, right? So that's what I need from Odafe. And so I'm absolutely going to keep an open mind, and I know exactly what you're saying. But the thing is, I get like that with guys when I just genuinely dislike them as people. I have no reason to dislike him.
Okay.
I just obviously think he's not a high impact football player, but I'm rooting for him. So I want to see the good out there. I think he can turn a corner, but I got to see it, man.
Well, and you got to admit that at least he's doing, at least from an optics standpoint, it looks like he's doing everything he can to get to that next level. Yeah. He stayed around. He stuck around. He went on the weight training program that the Ravens strength and conditioning program set for him. And man, I mean, it looks like he's doing everything he can. So if he does come up short, if he doesn't live up to the draft pick status, or if he doesn't take the next step from 10 sacks, at least he tried, right? Like, we can't be like, oh, well, he just sure. Like, how many guys do we watch have that physical ability or have like the tools, but are lazy, don't put the work in? Odafe Oweh's doing everything he can to get himself over that hump.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a good point. Hopefully it works out for him, right? And for the Ravens.
DK seems a little concerned that he might be getting slower with that. Now, I guess the question is how much slower versus how much more does the strength help him, particularly against the run, as he mentioned at the top of his rip move. Because is it realistic to say, let me ask you this, Jimbo, by the way, shout out to Jimbo, did not just enter and participate in a 5K, but just went out and won the whole bleeping thing, guys. He just won the whole thing. You know, anyone who just people participate in 5Ks, and it's cute. Jimbo shows up and wins it. Okay. So you know something about speed. How much of a concern is it possible to put on the kind of weight he's talking about, the kind of muscle he's talking about, and not lose speed and quickness?
It's difficult for me to analyze only because, like, I think that in a box that he's in, I think that he can maintain his quickness. But my concern is that, or maybe even increase it potentially. Right? My concern is that Odafe has had, like, the top end stuff when he's got 2-3 steps, he's got speed, but it's the get off and the closing speed, right? Like, it's not the middle of the play speed. So that's my concern. Hopefully the muscle helps him with those two things to kind of hit another gear. I just don't know how much of that you can coach. Like, I hate that. I hate that about sports because there's some things. I was listening to actually a world-renowned sprinting coach the other day, and he said that, and I forgot the term for it, but it's when you can move your feet so fast in a way that your whole upper trunk is over your feet by the time the next foot hits the ground, right? That's something like 0.00011% of the world can actually create that motion, that energy, because it creates an energy within your feet. And people that can are Olympians, people that can't are not, right? Like, it's just that simple. So I don't know if Odafe can get quicker. I don't know. I mean, I like to think that, yes, I'm not the guy that believes you're born with it or you're not, right? Because I think that's BS. I think I can't live that way myself. Like, I might as well not live, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you're just born with it or not. But I also understand that sometimes, unfortunately, there are limitations, right? Like, as much as I'd want to be in the NBA, I'm not gonna be in the NBA, dude. This is not
Come
happening.
on, dude.
Right?
Come on,
you know what I'm saying?
So,
So, look, so no, I walk up there and they write sneaky athletic, sneaky tall. Oh, he's sneaky taller than I thought.
No, here's what they'd write, Jimbo. He's a high IQ player.
He ain't giving you no turnovers.
Oh, no. No, he's not. What's going on, B-Burrs in the chat?
So I guess that's my concern with Odafe, right? It's like, can he truly get quicker?
Yeah.
I don't know the physiology of it, right? Like, can he improve his economics, like his ability to move, things like that? I don't think the weight, if it's good weight, would be an issue.
Okay. Just has to be the right kind of weight. Okay.
Yeah. Now, if he came out there and he looked like he was in his second trimester, that'd be a problem.
Yes. Oh, look, Dr. Uncle Bob says Jimbo does have a high IQ. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. Don't forget that.
Thanks, Bobby. I appreciate it.
V-Birds, if you're staying up late, I'll be there in a sec. Just give me a sec here. But look, Odafe Oweh, I think he's going to win your heart. But I got to get your take on the former GM of I believe it was Tennessee Titans, had some interesting comments today when asked to predict who will lead the league in passing yards. And I got to get your take. Really, I like what he said, apart from the very last sentence, which was a little wild here.
Oh, I can't hear it.
Really?
I can't hear it. DK, can you hear it?
Try it again. It said I'd lost connection with my audio. You hear this?
Nope.
Yeah.
No, I can't hear anything. No.
Oh, man. It was such a good one. See if you can find it, Jimbo.
Yeah, let me find it. Is this
It's
Kevin
on
Ostriker?
Kevin Ostriker's. It was 6 hours ago. See if you can find it.
All right, hold on.
Because my man had some wild comments.
Here we go. I got it. All right, let me share screen real quick. All right, I'm going to remove yours.
Okay.
Share screen. All right, bam. All right, let me put this bad boy up here. All right, this is it, right?
Yep.
All right.
Cooking up plays.
Can you hear this?
I mean, he's got Zay Flowers. Yep. He's got Hopkins. He's got Andrews. He's got Likely. He's got Todd Monken cooking up plays for him. He's been an MVP in the past. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're knocking on the door of going to the Super Bowl. Like, Lamar, step back there and sling it, Daddy.
Sling it, Daddy. That last one was a little out of pocket, but I love the fact that there's a guy out there willing to say Lamar's going to lead the league in passing. You know, after all this BS, he's not a pass, he's a running back. And now we got guys going out on a limb. Not only is he a passer, he's going to lead the whole damn league in it.
Yeah, I love that too. The only reason I give this guy a pass for that one on television because he's a Southern boy.
Yeah,
that's a very
he pulled it off, I'll say.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you heard what's he call him? Oh, geez, Jerry calls him war daddies.
Who calls him that?
Jerry Jones calls like the big guys on the inside war daddies. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a very it's a very Southern thing. So he gets a pass.
Sit back there and sling it, Daddy. That's right, Tom.
We should put it on a shirt, dude.
Yes. Sling it, Daddy.
Sit back
with
there.
Like a picture of Lamar with a visor on, or with the Oakleys on.
Look, the front should say sit back there and the back should say sling it.
Dang, dude. You better write this down, bro. This is good stuff right here. No, DK.
No, DK, no.
DK in the private chat getting out of control.
Out of control. Wait, but the one thing I definitely want to talk about is I think you brought up something that Derrick Henry said about his ability to beat Lamar Jackson in a race. Is that right?
Yeah, Derrick Henry surprise. I mean, I don't know. Maybe this isn't surprising, and maybe I'm crazy for even. But Derrick Henry basically he said he could beat Lamar in a foot race. He could beat him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And initially, because again, you get caught up into looking at Derrick Henry, and you go, "There's no way." But then I remember the run he had where he had 87-yard touchdown run. He's running away from DB, so. I think he might be right, Jimbo. I think Derrick Henry might be able to beat Lamar in a foot race, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
Yeah. No, absolutely. I 100% agree. Not that Lamar isn't incredibly fast, but Derrick Henry, the mechanics of him running when he gets straight up and he's vertical, the propulsion that he can create is insane. So this is what I'll say: 40 yards, I think Lamar beats him. 100 yards, I think that he beats Lamar is the way that I see it, because I think Lamar gets off to a quicker start.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think Lamar he's ever really been the known for. Now he can get it like top speed for sure, no doubt, but that's not really Lamar's thing. What makes Lamar incredible is the fact that he can cut and run full speed at the same time. Like, I don't know how many humans can do that, right? Like Lamar.
So you think it's more his quickness and change of direction?
Yeah. Right. And he's got top-notch speed, but Derrick Henry has practiced it and worked on it. When he gets full head of steam, I mean, my gosh.
Oh my God. When he just came running by. Derrick just it looks insane when he comes running by. But the one play that I remember, the playoff game against the Titans when Lamar had
and he just and he left the safety in cement.
Kevin Byard.
Yes, just see you later. And so he dusted him and then beat everybody to the pylon. That was ridiculous.
To Jax's point, and he doesn't seem like have we ever seen, other than that play, have we seen Lamar run his hardest? Like, it always seems like he's not. So I don't know. I think it would be a hell of a race. I do think that, Derrick Henry, what did he hit last year? He hit over 20 miles an hour on that 87-yarder. He hit like 21 and some change or something, but I think it'd be a hell of a race, man. Do you think, is there anyone like, does Zay, because Zay's another guy where is it more change of direction, stop and start speed, like, short area quickness?
Same thing. I think Zay beats him. I think Zay beats Henry to 42, but I think Henry
loses.
Catches him.
When does he pass? Yeah. When does Derrick pass those guys? At what mark? The 50-yard mark? When?
I think they're like 60, 70.
Okay.
Because they're incredibly fast humans. But dude, I just don't know another human that, like, he chews up the field like Giannis. Like, Giannis is 3 steps away from dunking the ball at half court.
He really is. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just wild. So I think that, similar in that fashion, he just needs a minute to get going. If he's really trying to beat them in a race.
Yeah, I think it would be a fun. I'd put Nate Wiggins in that race too if I was putting a race together. I think.
Yeah, now Nate might beat him.
Mitchell, maybe Keaton Mitchell.
Nate and Keaton both might beat Derrick.
Yeah.
I would be less surprised about that.
Yeah. Those guys are a lot smaller than Derrick Henry, which I think in a foot race might come in some advantage here. But interesting that he didn't just, because I don't think Lamar would say, if he was asked, like, do you think you'd beat? I think he would say, nah, Derrick would get me. It's interesting. Derrick was like, no, I'd beat him. It would be me.
That's just a guy that when you put in so much time on the track and doing sprints, I feel like you just get that. You're just like, nah, this guy's.
And it doesn't even feel like a arrogance thing. It feels like he just knows. Yes, I would beat.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's like when Cole and I were talking about running, right? Like, he's just getting started at the time, right? Like, it was like, it's not, dude.
You'd bounce him on your knee. Tell it.
That's no, you know what? There's no.
You would bounce him on your knee like a baby.
We're just different, right? We're different stages. Trust me. I got guys out there. I was running as a kid today that is so much faster than me. It's embarrassing, right? Like,
really?
Yeah, he's 25 and was a runner and, you know, everything else. So, like, yeah, he's ridiculous. You know, we all got those people that are way out in front of us.
That's right.
I will say, though, we did some 20-second splits, full-on sprints, and your boy doesn't get burnt in 20 seconds. You know that.
That's right. That's right. He
and
gets up out of there.
He was like, oh, shoot, okay. I'm like, dude, look, you might beat me in a couple miles, but hold on a second, dude. I can
no charity case here.
That's right. I can get you in 20 seconds now.
But no, I mean, look, a lot of guys today on the practice field were missing a lot of the big names, but hopefully those guys are going to get back out in the field. We kind of lauded their attendance last week, so we do have to bring up the fact that there was some big names missing, and hopefully those guys will get back out there either tomorrow or in the very near future. And then next week they have another set of OTAs. So look, this thing's going pretty quick, but look, after these OTAs are over, then it's about a month break until training camp kicks off. So during that month, we'll certainly have a lot to talk about when it comes to position battles going into camp, because I think there's a pretty interesting discussion that surrounds, you know, what position groups are like, what positions are actually up for grabs. John Harbaugh talks about there's established starters. There's like this guy's starting. Like what guys that are penciled in as starters are kind of on the fringe there. I think that's going to be an interesting conversation that'll be had. And then again, we still keep kicking the can down the road. We got to do our way too early win-loss prediction for the season. We have a lot to get into. And look, guys, I know I can speak for myself in saying that I will be back here in the very near future. I think Jimbo, we'll have to chit chat about Jimbo. But
yeah, for sure.
I will be coming back here in the not too distant future to keep you guys up to date on all your Ravens news. But I think that's it for us tonight, huh, Jim?
That's it. Appreciate you guys coming out. Glenn, great work as always. DK as well. But we'll talk to you guys soon.